Hi, it's Rebecca for the Lipstick Gal. I wanted to talk to you today about under eye concealer because, as a person who's been suffering from dark under eye circles for my entire life, ever since I can remember, I have always been on the lookout for the perfect under eye concealer. My first recollection of it ever being a problem for me, I was 15 years old. I was in the grocery store and I had noticed I had dark circles, but I didn't know there was anything you can do about it. And this man stopped me. He was an older gentleman and he very gently took my arm and he grabbed my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said very gently, "Sweetie, who's hitting you?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Is it your boyfriend? Is it your dad?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You have this terrible, terrible bruise under your eye. Who is hitting you?" And I said, "No one's hitting me. This is what I look like without makeup on." And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he left very quickly. And at that point, I realized that although makeup might not have perfectly concealed all of my imperfections, leaving the house without it might get some people to get into my business when I did not want it. So me and under eye concealer became very, very fast friends, even in my teenage years. So, uh, after many years of trying different things, I had kind of settled into a couple of favorites. There were some things that I had tried early on. I'll tell you this. I have been a Lancome girl since I was 14 years old. Been wearing Lancome since day one. And, well, day one being when I first started wearing makeup, when I was allowed to wear makeup. My parents said, "Okay, you're old enough." And so when I finally decided to start trying to find something different than what I had been using. I've been using something from the drugstore. And the reason I don't use a lot of drugstore products is because, first of all, I don't find they have a really good color match for my skin tone. Second of all, I don't get the full coverage that I need to really knock out that really serious blue that I have. And I really don't find that I get the all day coverage that I need. You know, I might start out good and then it kind of wears off and I'm constantly reapplying. And the truth is, I just don't have the effort to do that. I want to put it on, I want to leave it on, and I want to know it's going to stay all day. All right, so the first thing I did is I went to my Lancome lady and I said, "What do you have your best under eye concealer coverage?" And she goes, "Oh, well, you want to try the Effercerns." And it comes in a tube and it's their highest coverage. It has their most coverage for, and it's actually billed as an under eye concealer. It's waterproof. And it's it's what I like about it is that it does have a really good consistency and it is actually really good at concealing. The one thing I didn't like about it is it does really, I don't know if you can see this here, it does a really good job of blending in. It mixes with your skin tone. It looks really great. The only problem I had is being on the dry side, it would kind of settle into the creases a little bit. And then being on the dry side, it made my eyes, instead of looking a little bit moist, it made them look dry and it made my under eye, my fine lines just look a lot more prominent. And all of a sudden, instead of looking, when I got this concealer, I was just about turned 36, so I was 35. Instead of looking 35, I looked 45. And I thought, oh no, this is not what I want. And I wore it for quite a while because, first of all, I paid a lot of money for it. Second of all, it was from Lancome, and I love Lancome. And I was trying to convince myself this stuff is great. It really is. I gotta give it some time. I'm gonna try it with this. I'm gonna try it with that. Try better under eye, cream. I'm gonna do all of this stuff. And truthfully, it just ended up not working for me and ended up not being the perfect under eye concealer. Then I went across the way and I talked to the Clinique lady. And I've touched this container so many times, I've kind of actually worn off the gilt here that says Clinique. It's silver lettering, but it's their All About Eyes concealer. What I liked about this is that it actually was not quite as dry a formula as the waterproof Effercerns from Lancome. And this, I also thought, had a slightly more it had a warmer undertone to it, so it actually brought a little more life to my skin. And I thought it really did a job of matching my skin tone. And the truth is, this one I thought did a little bit better in covering. And as I rubbed it in, I found that it was actually really, really fantastic. And it did a really good job of concealing. And this, I thought, since it didn't settle into the fine lines as quickly, it still did towards the end of the day, but it didn't make my fine lines as prominent as the first one. It still did make my fine lines a little bit more obvious, and I was like, maybe this is just something that all concealers do. It did really help cover up the dark circles, but you still could see them. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try something else. If not, I still have it. I'll see what there is. I went back to Lancome and I thought, you know what? I used to love their Maki Complete, which was their medium coverage concealer that comes in a wand. And what I love about this is it's the exact same shade as my all over my mind just went blank. Is my foundation. And what I love about the Maki Complete is that it's light, it's almost moisturizing at the same time. And the wand, I like the wand. I really do. I don't know why. I like things that come in wands, like lip gloss and stuff like that. And I like that it's lighter. And this really did help the under eye. It had a brightness to it. I liked that. But the one thing that it also did is it did settle in the fine creases. I found that everything settled in my creases. And I thought, boy, maybe this is just something I can't get away from. And so I've been using this between this and this was really kind of working for me. And I was like, okay, maybe these are just the two things that I need to cover up my dark circles. And that's my life. And then this last spring, I got something from Sheer Cover. It's a double-sided kind of, you can mix it with your fingers to get just the right shade. And it's kind of light. It has a really nice touch to it. If you were to put it on, it actually blends really well. It actually has a bit of almost a creamy, almost like a buttery feel, like if you left butter out on the counter, almost kind of a slightly greasy, but not in a bad way feel. It's very, very, very creamy. I got this for free, and it came from Influencer from their Beauty Vox box this spring. And I keep this in my purse. This is my touch-up concealer. I just drop this in there. At that point, it's whatever shows up in my face towards the end of the day, or when I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, what's that? And that works for me. But then this last, about a week and a half ago when I was on vacation, I walked into Sephora and I talked to Nikki, and she said, okay, this is the best thing. I will point you in the direction of Tarte. I don't know if you can see it. This is their Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. And when she said creaseless, I said, as in it doesn't settle in the wrinkles? She says, exactly. And I was like, do they say that and it doesn't work, or do they say that and does it work? She says, no, it works. And let me tell you, in the last week and a half and 100-degree weather plus, this has been the life-saving concealer. I shouldn't say life-saving, but I should say life-changing. That's what I mean. This is amazing. It comes in all different shades. And what I like about it when I put it on is that it doesn't settle into the fine lines. It has the most coverage of any of the concealers I have here. It has the best the best coverage, and it also has a really nice, it almost has moisturizing properties to it. It sits there, it doesn't move, it doesn't budge, it doesn't settle, it doesn't travel around your face. I don't end up with little bits of it kind of in the creases right around in here. It's amazing. And if I were to put a little fine dusting of translucent powder over it, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't make me look older. It's amazing. So if you're looking for a new concealer and you have some very serious concealing to do, I would like to highly recommend this Maracuja Creaseless Concealer from Tarte. I use the one in light. It comes in lots of different shades. I would say get down to a place where you can try it on. I like to go to Sephora. I would say check them out, try it on, and see what you find, because this might just be as life-changing for you as it is for me. For the Lipstick Girl, I'm Rebecca. Have a great day.